All right, so I understand that this microphone might not be the best microphone, but I'm gonna try my best. Um, so I just mainly wanted to talk about um, how people, how majority of people view the markets. And so I see a lot of like, if I were to just go on YouTube and, you know, look at trading, right? So if I just search up day trading, right? I'm gonna show you an example, like what I'm talking about. Look at this. All right, so if you were to look up day trading, right? This video was posted 17 hours a day, 17 hours ago. You see $2,500 per week, right? They showed these numbers, 5.5K, right? You know, look at this. And so it's focused on money. It's focused on getting money. Look at this, 10K, right? And that's how they get you, right? They pull up, they show a green chart and they show profits. And mind you, 99% of the people who get into this lose money. They lose money. Now, eventually, as time goes on, the ones that stick with it have a higher chance of making money. But when people are starting out, especially beginners, they don't know. They don't know, right? They think a strategy is going to make them money, and that's just not the case. Okay, that's not the case. What is going to make you money is execution. That's it. That's what's going to make you money. Is how you execute your system, your strategy, and how you follow your rules. And if you follow your rules, that's the only thing that's going to make you realize that you can't control the markets because you can't. You can't control the markets. You can't make it go up. You can't make it go down. You can't make it go anywhere. You can only execute, stop loss, take profit, and move on. Okay. So many people are getting into the markets, right? And then they place a trade and then they stare at their charts for hours or they'll stare at the position. They'll try and like micromanage the position. They'll drag their stop loss here and then right because they don't understand that once you place the trade, your job is done. You don't need to do anything else. Your job is done. Okay. And so my trading changed completely. I mean, completely changed when I developed my system and followed my system. I didn't worry about the outcome of the trade because you can't control the outcome, right? Oh, sorry. You can't control the outcome. You can only control your execution and what you do. Okay. And so that's the main thing that I really want to get at. That's the main psychological point that I really want to tackle, and it's that you cannot control your trades as far as it goes with direction. You know, and there's nothing wrong with that. So, um, this is a trade that I took, right? And I'm not necessarily worried about this, right? This isn't what I want to focus on. I want to focus on my execution, right? And and so your execution, right? Your rule set. I'm just put it like this: if you're a beginner and you're getting into trading, you want to find a strategy that you can follow and then build on that. Okay, don't just abandon it. Build off of that strategy. Okay, so don't just switch strategies. Understand the strategy. Try to make it simpler for yourself to understand, so that way you can execute it every single time. Because the more simple you keep things, the easier trading is going to be for you. If you add 10, 20, 30, 40 indicators to your chart, you're not going to be able to execute cleanly because you're going to have all of these different things on your chart telling you to do a million different things. This indicator over here is going to be telling you to buy, and this indicator over here is going to be telling you to wait, and this one's over here is going to be telling you to sell. So if you ever find a strategy, try and keep it as simple as possible. As you can see, I have quite literally nothing on my screen. I really don't have much. Okay, I have a few lines, a few boxes, and that's it. That's all I need. I don't need a million and one things on my chart to trade because that's not what trading is. Okay. And so even if I lose this trade, it doesn't matter. The point is, as long as you execute it according to your rules, as long as you followed your rules, that's all that matters. Especially as a retail trader, you don't have the data that these other guys have in the markets that are managing millions, if not billions of dollars. You don't have the same data that they have. You don't have the same influence and control that they have. You don't have the same, you know, you don't have that type of money. So if you're just starting off, the only thing you can do as a retail trader is to just let your levels get hit and follow your rules. That's the only thing you can do. You can't do anything else. And I know it sucks because as human beings, what we want to do naturally is control the narrative. But in trading, it just doesn't work like that. Literally everything that you do in trading or that you think you're supposed to do, you're supposed to do the opposite. Everything that you believe that was supposed to push you toward your goals, like in the real world, it doesn't translate very well when you start to get into trading. And so, what I like to say, here's a rules that I like to follow. I think it was in trading, um, do not focus on the outcome. I think it was hold on. It says it was do not focus on the outcome of your decisions in trading. And to a lot of people, that sounds kind of backwards, right? It sounds kind of backwards until I throw you this line. Instead, focus on doing on f- it, on doing on focus on doing what you said you were going to do. So do not focus on the outcome of your decisions in trading. Instead, focus on what you said you were going to do, right? And what you said you were going to do is, right, you said you were going to follow your rules and size correctly, right? Follow your rules and size correctly. These are when it sums down to it, when it comes down to it, it's pretty much all it all it all your rules really are, right? You have a set of rules, whatever that looks like, and then sizing correctly. That's all you can really do in trading, right? So if you place a trade, you have your stop loss, you have a take profit. There's nothing else for you to worry about. There's no other thing that you can control other than this button right here and these things. But the moment you start moving these around, you're messing with your EV. You're messing with so many things that is going to push you forward as a trader. So this is a huge psychological point. I want people to focus on this right here. Okay. And this will help you become a better trader, right? And if you're a beginner, follow your rule, find a strategy and continue to implement that strategy, build on top of that strategy, perfect that strategy, because at some point it's going to become your strategy. It's not going to be the same strategy that you picked up a year or two ago. It's going to be your strategy. It's going to be your understanding of how to enter in the markets. And so that's what I want. That's what I want people to really understand, especially as traders. That's what I want. That's what I want you guys to understand. It's not about it's not about the outcome, you know. And that goes against what a lot of people think, because again, you get into this and you see this, $2,500 per week. This video already has 12K views in 17 hours. But this video that I'm gonna post is probably not gonna get 100 views. But I guarantee you, this video is so much more valuable than this one, because this one is first of all, you can't you can't make $2,500 per week with only $50. That's just impossible in trading. Okay, unless you have a crazy amount of margin and leverage, you just it's just not gonna happen. Okay, and you're not even gonna get that much margin with $50, and the leverage that you're gonna have on your account with $50, one small move, one small bad trade is literally gonna blow up in your face. Now, what he's probably talking about is a prop firm, but even still, right? It's the same thing. It's not about the money. It's about how well you're following your plan and your execution. And see, a lot of these guys, they're trying to, they just throw up this dollar amount, and that's what they got all these charts up. They want you to focus on the outcome, right? They want you to focus on the outcome. That's all they want you to focus on. And I wouldn't even say 97% of people fail. I would say around 90. I would say around 90% of people fail. Right. I would say you have around a 10% chance as a beginner. But as time goes on, that that percentage gets wider and wider and wider, because you're not focused on money. You're just focused on process and execution. And that gets you so much farther than thinking about this dollar amount right here. So much farther. So that's just what I want people to focus on. I'm gonna get off my soapbox. Um, Here's my Discord channel, and I focus a lot on psychology and just following your process. Okay, here's something that I posted not so long ago in my chat. It's the confidence building chat. First 10% of trading is learning what to do. The last 90% of it is becoming the person who actually does it consistently. The irony of trading is that once you realize your only job is execution, it gets a lot simpler mentally. You're not trying to predict the future anymore. You're just trying to find edge, execute edge, accept the outcome, and repeat. The market handles the rest. Okay. You can't control the waves, but you can learn how to surf. And so, again, trading is like 99% psychology. That 1% is just you clicking the button, dragging your stop loss, and you take profit. You may be looking at the chart for like 30 minutes. But most of my trades, the most profitable trades, I haven't even looked at my chart for hours. I would get an alert, and then I would look for a trade. But if I don't have an alert, I don't have any price action, I don't have anything that aligns with my rules, I'm not looking for a trade. Okay? I'm not looking for a trade. This is another one. The market owes me nothing. That's why I enter with humility. And this basically means, look, if you enter into the trade, don't even expect to win. Just just imagine you losing that trade or going sideways forever. Imagine that instead. Because the market genuinely owes you nothing. It doesn't. This is another hard one for people to accept. I accept, or for people to realize, I accept uncertainty and respond with structure. A lot of people in trading, the reason why they're following all of these different strategies is because they want to control the markets. They want certainty. They want to know that their trade is going to work out. And trading just doesn't do that for you. It just doesn't. Okay. This is another one too, right? This is how we think about, right, what Zen means peace, but Zen is actually being calm in the opposite environment, right? It's learning how to accept your reality and what you can't control, and move past it, move forward, move on. Don't even stop trying to think about controlling everything, and everything needs to be in the right place at the right time, and so I could go on and on and on, right? Like I said, this is a chat that I own, and so we're doing pretty well in here. We're very active. And go ahead and put fire up on that because this is insane, right? 2,000% of this guy is crazy, right? And so the chat, this is my chat, right? And so we're doing, we're cooking in here. This is from someone in our chat, okay? And we're cooking, and we focus on process, right? So process rather than outcomes, right? That's what we focus on. We focus on process, and we hold each other accountable. We do giveaways, and and this is free. Okay, our chat for the most part is free. If you want to access like my private channels and whatnot, because it's like different, just like 4 or 5 coaches in here. So if you want to access um private channels and whatnot, then it's gonna be a small little fee, but it's not anything crazy, right? We're not looking for the world's money as far as like goes with retail. We're not looking for you guys' money. We just really want to share our own trades, hold other people accountable, um, hold ourselves accountable, and just be a better trader. We're just trying to be profitable, right? So we're not trying to sell a course or anything. This isn't a course. It's more like a community, and it's a community that you can go and you can learn from. Um, you can have mentors. You can talk to me. I'm a mentor in here. I'm a coach in here, and so if you're a beginner or even intermediate or even you've been a trader, feel free to join in the chat and help other people out. You know, and so that's what trading is about, right? That's what I think it's about. I think it's about just focusing on process rather than just outcome. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it.